Joseph stood at the edge of the river, staring into the rippling water as if searching for answers hidden beneath the surface. His mind was a battlefield, a place where doubts clashed against dreams, where fears strangled ambition, and where the echoes of his past weighed heavily on his soul. Who am I? The question haunted him, a silent whisper that grew louder with each passing day. On the outside, Joseph appeared strong, confident, composed, even successful in the eyes of others. But inside, he fought relentless wars, wars of regret, wars of expectation, wars of self-doubt, and the greatest battle of all, the battle for inner peace. But how did he get here? And more importantly, how would he find his way out? Joseph's struggles had deep roots, tangled in the soil of his childhood. Raised in a home where love was measured in achievements, he had learned early on that failure was not an option. Every mistake was a stain, every shortcoming a burden. The voice of his father lingered in his head, sharp and unwavering. You have to be the best, no excuses. The expectations were a double-edged sword. They fueled his drive, but also carved wounds of insecurity into his heart. He feared failure more than he feared anything else. And so he lived cautiously, carefully crafting an image of success while burying the messier, more vulnerable parts of himself. The problem was, no matter how high he climbed, it never felt like enough. Success, Joseph had learned, was a relentless master. Society demanded more work, more achievement, more sacrifice. He had spent years chasing the illusion of making it. First, it was the degree, then the career, then the recognition. But with each milestone, the emptiness within him only grew. He had built his life on external validation, and now it was all he knew. What happens when you don't know who you are beyond what you do? Joseph was beginning to realize that he had become a prisoner of his own ambition. He was not living, he was performing. His mind never rested. His thoughts raced like a storm he could not control. Joseph's mind was never silent. There were always voices, some from his past, some from his own fears. The voice of self-doubt whispered, "You're not good enough." The voice of regret murmured, "You should have done things differently." The voice of comparison taunted, "Look at them, they are ahead of you." The voice of fear warned, "If you stop now, you will lose everything." These voices shaped his decisions, dictated his actions, and trapped him in a cycle of exhaustion. But what if he could silence them? What if he could rewrite the script? Joseph's breaking point came on a day that should have been a triumph. He had just received a promotion, a title that many would have envied. But as he sat alone in his office that night, staring at the award on his desk, a crushing realization hit him. He was exhausted, and he was lost. The success he had spent his life chasing had not given him peace. He had been running for so long that he had forgotten what he was running toward. Something had to change. For the first time in years, Joseph allowed himself to slow down. He sought solitude, not to escape, but to listen, to the silence, to his breath, to the truths he had long ignored. He started journaling, pouring out the thoughts he had buried. He revisited his childhood wounds, not with blame, but with understanding. He acknowledged his fears, not as enemies, but as parts of himself in need of healing. He discovered mindfulness, the power of being present. He learned that peace was not in achievements, but in awareness, in the ability to be still without judgment. And slowly, the voices in his head grew quieter. Joseph's inner battles did not disappear, but they changed. Where there was once self-doubt, there was now self-compassion. Where there was fear, there was now acceptance. Where there was pressure to be perfect, there was now permission to be human. He no longer saw life as a race to be won, but as a journey to be experienced. He found freedom in the realization that he did not need to prove his worth to anyone, not even to himself. Joseph's story is not unique. It is the story of many, of those who live trapped in their minds, haunted by expectations, and weighed down by self-doubt. But the truth is, the battle is not against failure. It is not against society. It is not even against the voices in our heads. The real battle is learning to embrace ourselves as we are, without conditions.